Good morning. Welcome to our family service. My name is Shirley Nagisao, and I'll be the MC for today. We'll begin with the ringing of the temple bell, or Kansho, that signifies the beginning of a temple service. It is deep and sacred ritual steeped in the ancient tradition. It is a calling of the people to come together to listen to the Dharma or teachings. The temple bell represents the gratitude and deep appreciation of the members, friends, and guests of the Windward Buddhist temple. Please sit quietly in your seat. If you're able, please rise for the meditation, followed by the chanting of the Vandana Ti-Sarana in Pali and English in this red Jodo Shinshu service book on page 7. Today's sutra is Praises of the Buddhist Book, Sambuge, in the Jodo Shinshu Service Book on page 112.
Your face shines in great splendor, boundless, wondrous dignity, such the greatness of your light, beyond all comparison, brightness of the sun and moon, and the shining many jewels, when compared to your brilliance, seem to us like blackest ink. Tathagata's countenance transcends all comparison. The great voice of awakening resounds through the 10 quarters. Your precepts, learning, effort, meditation, wisdom are virtues beyond all compare, ultimate, supreme, and rare. Your deep meditation hath fathomed all the Dharma sea, to the limits and the depths of all things the Buddhas teach. Ignorance, anger, and greed, the world honored one has none. Like a lion among men, measureless your great virtue, vast are your great virtuous deeds, wisdom deep and so sublime. Your radiant luminous light shakes all the world's foundations. When I become a Buddha, equal to the Dharma King, I will transcend birth and death, liberating all beings. My giving discipline, my precepts, patience, and effort, meditation and wisdom shall be supreme, unsurpassed. I will attain Buddhahood, everywhere fulfill my vow, bringing to all those in fear great peace and tranquility. Though there are myriad Buddhas, beyond measure, beyond count, and great sages numberless, like the grains of Gatha, equally accepting none, even more importantly, I will seek the supreme way, even though all Buddha worlds are countless as Ganges sands, even though all lands and realms are boundless without measure, yet my light shall reach them all and illumine every place. Such shall be my perfect work, such my power infinite. When I attain Buddhahood, my land will be first and best, place of practice transcendent, its people sublime and rare, land equal to nirvana, beyond all comparison, with pity for everyone, I will carry all across, all who come from 10 quarters to be born into my land, to attain pure, joyful mind, peace and great tranquility. Be my witness, Buddha, please. Confirm my sincerity. Now that I have made my vows, I will strive to fulfill them. Buddhas of the 10 quarters, with your wisdom unhindered, may all of these honored ones know my deepest intention, even though my body must bear great pain and suffering. I will persevere and strive patiently without regret. Amanda Amida's vow is shared equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of peace.
If you're able, please rise for the recitation Shinshu Pledge in the Jodo Shinshu Service book on page 6. On page 6. And trusting in the vow of the Buddha and reciting the sacred name, I shall proceed to the journey of life with strength and joy. Revering the light of the Buddha and reflecting upon my imperfect self, I shall strive to live a life of gratitude.
Following the teachings of the Buddha and discerning the right path, I shall spread the true Dharma. Rejoicing in the compassion of the Buddha, respecting and aiding others, I shall do my best to work towards the welfare of society. Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Ando, Namu Ando.
Please continue to stand for the Gatha, Namu Amida Butsu, in the praises of the Buddha book on page 144. Please be seated. Our speaker for today is our minister, Reverend So Kalu.
Hello? I promise you I'm gonna I won't do it on my last message next Sunday. But don't count on it. Let's put our hands together in Kansho. From attachment springs grief. From attachment springs fear. From him who is wholly free from attachment, there is no grief. Whence then fear? From the Dhammapada, the words of Shakyamuni Buddha. Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu. Good morning, aloha, and welcome to this Sunday morning service here at the Windward Buddhist Temple. I hope everybody is now recovered from the busy week last week with the Bon Dance preparation and the Bon Dance itself. It's good to be here again on this one particular day we reserve to come to the temple and listen to the Buddha's teachings. Sundays are always and should always be a time not just for reflecting and learning the Dharma, but also to socialize and have some fun activities. To live a balanced life is very important in Buddhism. Our path to the Pure Land and enlightenment is already made easy by Amida Buddha, by the vow, and we should all enjoy our spiritual journey as we make progress. This month in America, we observe a very important holiday, and that is, of course, Independence Day on the 4th of July. 249 years ago, a new nation was founded upon the ideals of freedom, equality, and justice for all, regardless of race, religion, and other class distinction. The founding fathers of this nation forged a new country out of 13 original colonies of people from a distant continent, people who fled their home countries in search of freedom from oppression. The price was not cheap. A violent revolution resorting to force of arms was necessary for a group of people to break away from control and domination of their mother country's government. And the ideals of democracy, the rule of the people was firmly established. The right to manage governance among themselves. It was all about freedom. Now, freedom as a word has many meanings. In the context of politics, the interpretation that we usually have of freedom, quote unquote, is in contrast to entanglement. Every time a person hears this word, freedom, what usually first comes to his mind is that this concept is used in contrast to captivity and bondage. To be free from tyranny, oppression, injustice, and the unwarranted control of the governing or ruling class. Everybody, especially in the United States, talks about, demands, struggles, and fights for freedom. The country spends a great portion of its vast resources excuse me, to promote the ideals of freedom, independence, the rule of the majority, and the protection of the rights of citizens to live in a society free from wants, fears, and excessive control from the ruling elite. However, in Buddhism, among other things, to attain liberation from the rounds of samsaric existence, the repeated cycle of births and deaths, and that is to be free. The attainment of enlightenment and Buddhahood brings us true freedom. It is a state of supreme freedom spanning the three existences, past, present, and future, that brings with the proper and wisdom to develop our lives as we wish, in accord with our determination in faith. A word that is closely associated with freedom and also important for us to ponder upon is the word freedom's opposite, and that is slavery. Now, slavery in our minds is something that is archaic, is old, is relic of the bygone days of colonialism, and involved forced removal and use of a people by another group of people to do degrading physical work under inhumane conditions. That is the classic definition of slavery. But let us steer back to its meaning in the religious context, and amazingly, the Buddha recognized and taught it to his many disciples and followers several thousands of years ago. Today, it still exists in many forms in our lives, especially our slavery to our blind passions, to our desires, our wants. A classic example is our being a slave to what many people foolishly deem to be the most important thing to possess in life. And that is, of course, the almighty dollar, money. There is a famous saying that money is the root of all evil. I disagree with that statement a little and would rather say that the greed for money is the real root of all evil. Money in itself is not bad. I am not saying that people should get rid of it, but if in case you do want to get rid of it, you can drop it in our donation bowl in the front. It's most welcome. Of course, I'm just joking. It's the unwise value we attach to money that causes so much trouble because it fosters attachment and greed to it. It is an evil, if we choose to call it that, yet something that is necessary for properly functioning in our society. We want it. We feel happy if we have plenty of it, of course, and worst of all, for some of us, we crave it, and despite having more than enough for our needs, we still desire to have more of it. Of course, not having any money at all is not desirable either. More, rather than creating, more is better, according to our unenlightened minds. This craving for more, rather than creating happiness, becomes the source of suffering. I've seen enough of this in my lifetime. In my former occupation in healthcare, I've worked with people who put in long hours, 7 days a week, without taking any rest days, resulting in poorer health and a decrease in their competence to do their jobs properly, all just to make money. More money, even though they already possess big houses, fancy cars, clothes, jewelry, and so on. But that's their business, that's not mine. In fighting for the inheritance of property or money among siblings after a parent has just passed away is another example. And so are frivolous lawsuits just because a fast food restaurant's coffee was too hot. Prisons not having a menu that fits a particular culture, the portions served are too small or unappetizing, and so on. All filed in order to get a huge settlement of money. It's ridiculous, but it's true. Worldly possessions, such as money, are just that, worldly. We can no longer use them when we leave this physical existence. And for some of us who have a lot more than we need, we could never use all of them. How on earth, for example, can billionaires spend all that money they have in their lifetimes? How can misers hold on to it and be afraid of spending it? The acronym for money, M-O-N-E-Y, can stand for, let me just show you, momentarily owned, never eternally yours. That's true, yeah? That is the classic definition of, the acronym for money. Yeah? It is not something we can own and use forever. Money is also aptly called currency. Why do we call that currency? Because it has to circulate, like an electric current, to be used wisely for the benefit of the possessor and others. Take note of this. Money is only valuable if it is spent, right? It is not there to decorate the insides of our wallets or purses. But it is to be spent wisely. It is not meant to be owned or hoarded by only a select few in the world. The lure of money is rooted in the value we foolish human beings attach to it. If you reflect for a minute and see money or any other possessions that we have for what they truly are, if we look at material things with the wisdom eye of enlightenment, we will recognize their true nature. This thing called money, in ultimate reality, are just pieces of special paper with numbers and letters printed in green ink, in the case of the United States dollar, multicolored in other countries' currencies. Or they may be art discs made of metal and embossed with numbers and outlines of faces of famous personalities, as in coins. And yet, people fight and sometimes kill each other over these pieces of green paper or metal discs. Why? Again, it's because of the value we attach to it. It's the artificial meaning and scarcity we assign to currency that makes it something we want to keep in as large numbers as we possibly can, for as long as we can. And for some, money is something that they are willing to fight and kill for. During the Second World War in my country, the Philippines, the Japanese army invaded and occupied the country and forced the people to use what's called occupation money, which were printed in large volumes. Yeah. People used them to buy necessities like food, fuel, clothes, and other items, and then hoarded them for future contingencies, since it was a time of war. When Japan lost the war in 1945 and the Japanese military left the country, the occupation money in circulation was replaced with the money of the returning American forces in the Philippines. So the currency imposed by the Japanese military lost all its value. The Japanese occupation money became worthless pieces of scrap paper. We used to play with them when we were children, those that were remaining in circulation, and we called them Mickey Mouse money. Yeah, it's all no more value. Huh? The old Japanese currency was still used, but not for buying things, but for fuel, to make cooking fires, or worse, used for personal hygiene. The basic material for this occupation money didn't change. It was still made of paper and ink, but the value of it is now gone. Nobody wanted them anymore. I doubt it very much if people would still fight or kill each other for something that's already worthless. Well, it's happening now in this country too, you know. Too much printing of money without the corresponding material backing, and the value of the dollar is much less now than years ago because of inflation. Excuse me. There's less scarcity. Yeah? The whole point of this example is that a material thing is only valuable if and when we make it valuable. Our minds determine a thing's usefulness or worth. If we recognize the true, real nature of all material wealth or possessions, we wouldn't be so much attached to them, and our cravings for more would be less. Less attachments and cravings means less suffering. So, money is really no more evil than any other resources. Using it wisely without undue attachments, sharing its benefits with others to empower their lives and ours, makes money a valuable commodity that can be a source of pleasure and happiness, although temporary, for ourselves and others. Let me make a disclaimer again. Money viewed and spent wisely is very important in our lives. However, letting money control our actions and thoughts changes and possesses us and makes it a source of suffering and misery instead. Like what happens when people indulge in compulsive gambling. Yeah, you go to Las Vegas and you lose control. That's suffering, that's not enjoying anymore, yeah? We then, at that point, become a slave to it. Money becomes the master over us rather than the other way around. Are we willing to surrender our freedom and peace of mind to something that is impermanent and fleeting? I don't think so. It is not generally known to many, but the Buddha, during his lifetime, gave many teachings on how to acquire fortune and money, not to promote greed and attachment, but rather to guide us on how to use wealth wisely. The rather obscured Sigalovada and Alavaka Sutras contain sections of the teachings of the Buddha on how to view and handle material things properly. The Buddha, as we all know, was no stranger to material opulence. He was born a prince. His father was the king of the Shakya clan, and he grew up lacking in nothing. Yet, his wisdom enabled him to transcend material desires and pursue a higher level of development, spiritually, that is. Shakyamuni Buddha expounded that the foundation of true happiness is not in abundance of material possessions, but rather grounded in inner peace, which depends on warm-heartedness, the ability to cherish others, sincerely care for others' well-being and happiness. To rely on worldly possession for happiness puts us in a position of always wanting and needing, because our desires, our blind passions, are always seeking to be satisfied. Material wealth, such as money, is a numbers game. If we depend on it alone for happiness, then we will always fall short. Ultimately, all things, all phenomena are empty. Nothing lasts forever. Only the Dharma, the teaching of the Buddha, is timeless and enduring, the source of absolute happiness, unfettered by the limitations of samsaric existence. We should never think that the only path to happiness is the accumulation of material wealth. True happiness is not having what we want, but wanting what we already have. Let's use our resources wisely for our own and others' benefit, and never be attached to them. Then we can truly be free from the tyranny and excessive demands of our egos and achieve inner peace and contentment. We can then achieve real and lasting freedom. That is the real meaning of freedom in the Buddhist context. Let's put our hands together in Kansho and conclude by the recitation of the Buddha's name. Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend Kalu. You've given the whole history from the time of the Europeans came to and everything, and then Japan and the Philippines. So now we're all here, aren't we? If you're able, please rise for the Gatha with these hands in the Praises of the Buddha book on page 216. All right, and then continue to stand for the Nembutsu on page 145.
I
Those who attain true and real Shinjin immediately join the truly settled. Thus, having entered the stage of non-retrogression, they necessarily attain nirvana. Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida, Namu Amida, Namu Amida.
Please be seated. We'll have announcements now from Cynthia. Dennis was not able to be with us this morning, so I'm here to do the announcements. But before that, I'd like to call up Bishop Umitani, who is here along with his wife, to say a few words.
Hey, ohayou gozaimasu. Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Okay, well, it's so nice to be back here at the Windward Buddhist Temple this morning. My wife and I are here today to have a good refreshments with all of you. Well, it's not a lie. But the main purpose that we are here today is to say our deepest appreciation, express our deepest appreciation and gratitude to Reverend Soul Kalu. As we all know, Kalu Sensei will be retiring at the end of this month, and we understand that he has one more Sunday service to conduct next week. However, since we are not able to come next week, we wanted to come today and listen to Reverend Kalu's message. And wow, I was so grateful. Thank you, Sensei, for sharing your Dharma message this morning. Kalu Sensei encountered the Jodo Shinshu teaching in Hawaii at the Buddhist Study Center and Hawaii Betsuane, and became the Kaikyoshi minister. And since he became a Kaikyoshi minister, he has been sharing the, as you know, Kalu Sensei is very sincere and humble, dedicated to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And we are truly grateful that Kalu Sensei, shared his wisdom and compassion with the us ministers and Sangha members here in Hawaii. And well, we will miss him very much. I will miss him personally, and but I sincerely hope that Kalu Sensei, please have a safe and happy and meaningful retirement. And well, I really hope that our path, our roads will cross, in the future once again, or many more times. And well, we're always looking for ministers in Hawaii. So, if you feel comfortable, please, visit us or, come back to us anytime. And, but anyhow, thank you, Kalu Sensei, from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of the ministers and members of the Honpa Hongwanji Mission of Hawaii, thank you. Thank you so much, Kalu Sensei. Arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop. Okay, for now, for announcements. Thank you to Reverend Soul, Shirley for MC, Prudence as greeter, Lisa on the piano, and Ryan for doing the recording today. We have some guests this morning, so when I call your name, can you please rise? It's Rachel and George Guillaume. Welcome. Okay. Next Sunday will be our monthly remembrance service. So if you would like to remember a loved one who passed away in the month of July of any year, you may do so during the remembrance service. Please add the name of your loved one to the list upon arrival. If you have a picture of your loved one, please bring it to the service. Next Sunday will be our final service for the summer. We have summer vacation. There will be no Sunday services during August, and services will resume on Sunday, September 7th. Next Sunday will also be the last service for Reverend Soul, and before his retirement on July 31st. Please join us to celebrate his retirement and to bid him well in the future. Just a reminder, we will be visiting the Aiea Hongwanji on Sunday, August 10th. There will be a signed-up sheet on the back table as you exit, so please indicate if you will be driving or if you need a ride. And most of all, thank you very, very much. I'm sure Dennis will say this next week when he comes back, but thank you very much for your participation and support of our recent Bon Dance. It was truly a great, great success. We'll be showing you more photos next week when Dennis gets back. Now, are there any other announcements? Prudence, anyone? Okay, if not, we're going to be doing the words of thanksgiving, so we can go next door, okay? We are truly grateful for the wonderful food,
Gift of life, I will share its benefits with all beings. As we partake of this food, let us remember Amida Buddha's compassion, which surrounds all people and all forms of life. Namu, Amida, Butsu, itadakimasu.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.